Kia ora from beautiful Aotearoa, that is to say, hello from beautiful New Zealand. I'm Career Break Guy, taking a break from my corporate life tonight to try a couple of things. One, I'm going to try and solo a pre-written adventure for Dungeons & Dragons, but also I'm going to try and play that adventure using the Nimble 2 system and convert it on the fly. So this is also kind of a pick up and play of Nimble 2, and we'll see how it goes. As always, I haven't planned any of this, except for a little bit of work on a VTT. Again, I'm on Alchemy for some reason. Here's a cool artwork from Nimble. So to start with, I guess we'll start by making a character. Nimble has got a lot of similarities to Dungeons & Dragons. It's just a lot more simplified for your character sheets, but then you have a little more options around things like combat, where you don't need to roll for hit, but we'll come to that. So I have... Here's what I prepared earlier. Made up a new character sheet. Let's play him. The only thing I know is that this person, I want them to be the equivalent of a paladin, because if I'm the only person in this party, I probably need something that can help keep me alive. Lay on hands will be very useful. So I've actually got... I should have said the adventure that I'm playing is the Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. So spoiler alert, I've got a physical copy of the book here, and one of the characters in there is actually a paladin, a human paladin, so I'm going to kind of remake them. So let's just open this up first. This is just the artwork from Nimble 2, the guy in chainmail. I thought, sure, that'll do it. So to start with, you have your stats. Let's get this on edit mode. And you can either pick a standard array, balanced, or a min-max array. So you've got your 4 stats: strength, dexterity, intelligence, willpower. Willpower kind of covers charisma. Or, I mean, it does cover charisma, which you would otherwise find in D&D. And strength also covers toughness. Sorry, it's been a while since I've played D&D. Oh, wait, I've got a character sheet. Constitution. Yeah, so strength in this game is strength and constitution. Dexterity is dexterity. Intelligence is intelligence, and willpower is wisdom plus charisma. So anyway, let's start by making a character. So I think I'll do a standard array, which means I will put +2 into my skills which are more important. And for the, they're called Oathsworn in Nimble 2, but very similar. You have a key stat, and then you've got... well, you know what, we'll come to that. So the key stats for an Oathsworn are strength and willpower. So that standard array, as I say, is +2, +2, 0, and -1. So let's put 2 in strength, 2 in willpower. Let's leave dexterity as 0 and we'll go -1 in intelligence. So he's not the smartest, but his heart's in the right place and he's strong. From there, we need to add skill points. So all of these stats actually have an equivalent. So Arcana, Examination, Finesse, Influence, Insight, Law, Might, Naturecraft, Perception, Stealth. More or less, it's the ones that you would find in D&D, but condensed down. So what you do is you find out what your stats are in each of these things. So 2, 0, -1, and 2. And then you just fill them in as per. So Arcana is Intelligence. That's -1. Examination is intelligence as well. Oops. Finesse is dexterity, so it's 0. Influence is willpower +2. Insight is willpower again, so +2. Law is intelligence, -1. He does not know a lot, this chap. Unsurprisingly, Might is strength. Naturecraft, willpower for perception, and dex for stealth. So he's not stealthy. You can see what he's doing, strong, outdoorsy, strength of character, but not the sharpest in the box. Yeah, that's fine. So now we've got the skill points. Now we find out his max HP and his hit dice size. So a Oathsworn is starting HP of 17. Let's go to our tracker, HP... 17. He's a chunky boy. Gets all his health back. And his hit dice is a 1d10. And you'll click that too soon. I think I've just listed that down here. It does 1d10. Next step in creating a character. It's actually pretty simple. Equipment and money. So what does this chap carry? And that's all. There's 3 books in Nimble. You've got your player's guide, the core rules, which has how to create a character. Heroes, which is where it goes through the different classes. And then also the GM guide, where it has things like the 5e conversion rules, but also how to run the game in general. So, all right, let's get this guy open again. Open equipment. So he has got, create item, a mace. I'm just going to do this very quickly. You can have strength plus 10 items that you carry. So there's one. He's got a rusty mail. And this is all from that Heroes book where it says the equipment that you start with. He has got a wooden buckler. And finally, he's got manacles. Okay. So he's wearing rusty mail, mace, buckler, and then he's got some manacles in case he needs to capture anyone's manacles. All right, so that's his items. Next thing, we can figure out the languages he speaks. Everyone speaks Common, but you also get more languages depending on your intelligence. He's -1, so he just speaks Common. That's fine. Now, the other abilities that you get from your class, ancestry, and background. So, for his class, he gets a couple of things. Yeah, where should we put this character? Notes. Okay, let's just say he has I wonder if I can just copy and paste this. That'd be great. All right. So he has Radiant Judgment. Whenever an enemy attacks him, he can get some what's known as Judgment dice, and that will allow to do him the equivalent of a Smite in the next fight, not in this fight, which is awkward. And he also has Lay on Hands, which is equal to 5 times his level, so he's got 5 health that he can give to people and recharges on a safe rest. It has a slightly different resting system to D&D. Right, so he's got those. Now we get to pick a race for him. And I'm just going to make him a human. There's a whole bunch of different races in this book. So you've got your standard ones, humans, dwarves, elves, orcs, that kind of dealy. But then also things like, what is it called? A bunnykin? Oh, sorry, bun, which is like a small rabbit, I guess like a haragon. Dragonborn, orcs, kobolds, goblins, birdfolk, half-giants, crystalborns, dryads, shroomlings, oozlings, constructs. They've got a whole range of different people that you could be, and also they say, hey, look, just flavor something. If, maybe you want to be a small cat person and they don't have a cat person, you could look at, say, there's a stoatling here. It's a small thing, it's a stoat, it's vicious. Maybe that's how you want to flavor it, and say, actually, I'm a catkin or something like that. I'm just going to go human on this one. Humans' ability is that they get +1 for all of their skills and their initiative, which is quite useful. So it's just 1, 1, 1, 2, 2. Makes him a little better at life. And also +1 on his initiative. Now, initiative itself is... Initiative is default to your dex. This dex is 0, so initiative of +1. Well, that's as good as it gets. All right, inventory slots I mentioned. All right, so that is the character. I guess he just needs a name. I'm going to call him Nimble. It's a good name for a paladin. And now I'm just going to have a look at the character from the Stormwreck Isle. Okay, so this guy's got a personal goal, which I'm going to add in here. Personal goal. he wants to a rejuvenating pilgrimage. Pilgrimage. So he is seeking to reinvigorate his resolve, having learned of a remote cloister, the Dragon's Rest, on a tiny island. The cloister holds a temple to the dragon god Bahamut. He feels drawn to contemplate his place in the world there. Okay, so now we know why he's going to this island. Okay, there's a cloister and a temple and to a dragon. That's probably the dragon of Stormwreck Isle that it talked about. I haven't actually read the adventure, so going into this blind, but that's part of just running a pre-written adventure with a solo character. Okay, there's that. Oh, there is just one more thing. He should have a background. Background. Let's see. Let's say that he's a noble in the D&D one. I'm just trying to find what it might be. Oh, you know what? -1 intelligence. There's a skill called So Dumb I'm Smart Sometimes, which sounds fun. And it requires you to have 0 or negative intelligence, which he does. And you get to re-roll an intelligence-related skill check once per day. And you can re-roll a failed intelligence save with advantage once per safe dress. So I think that's a fun background. Sometimes he just lucks out. And there we go, roll in. Okay, so it's a fun little background thing. He's really dumb, but as again, his heart's in the right place. So that is our character. I'll get rid of that character sheet from D&D. Don't need that anymore. We just need to figure out what his armor is. Armor works a little differently in this game, but we will come to that. Right now, he's got a rusty mail and a wooden buckler. So rusty mail is 6 plus dexterity, so just 6, and then wooden buckler is 2. So that is a total of 8. Right, Nimble, done. So now we've got a character. That's how easy. I'm not sure how long that was actually. Maybe 10 minutes to roll up a character. You could keep going through. You've got random table generators to find out more about your character. I think it was Grimwild that I was reading. That system I quite liked, where you had to choose or roll for a couple of characteristics which describe your person, but then also you had to pick or choose or roll for a characteristic which didn't describe your person. And I thought that was a really interesting way of going about it. Anyway, we've got Nimble, and we're going to find out more about him as we go along. Let's change the scene. Here's one I prepared earlier. This is just a random Dragons of Stormwreck Isle picture I found and a couple of particle effects. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start reading through this adventure. So obviously spoilers for the Dragons of Stormwreck Isle, which is one of the starting sets. The way I figure I'm going to do this is I'm going to read through and look for some of the blue boxes. You know how in a lot of written adventures, especially D&D, they have that box text? So that's generally safe to read because, you know, that's what the Game Master would be reading out to the players anyway. So I think that's okay for me to read. And then I'm going to have a little bit of a quick skim and see if there's any kind of pertinent things I should be looking out for. But I'm not going to read with, I guess, the intent to know what's coming up. I believe it was DM Yourself book, which is available on Drive-Thru RPG. I'll have a link because unfortunately I can't remember the name of the author, like Dan Shutt or something like that. He had a cool idea where what you do is once you've got to the scene and it's been set, you commit to a couple of actions. So, you know, if you see a dragon You say, look, I'm going to go up and I'm going to talk to the dragon, and then I'm going to, you at least commit to one thing. So you go up and talk to the dragon, and then you go down and then you read the rest of the text in that book, and it turns out the dragon might attack on sight. But you've already committed, so your person is not going in there aggressively. They're going to get caught off guard. Well, alternatively, you can be like, oh, I see a dragon. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attack it. And then you read the text and it says, you find out that the dragon is friendly unless attacked. But then you've already committed to an action. So I think that's a cool way of doing it. So anyway, Chapter 1, Dragon's Rest. So your journey was uneventful, but the island now visible off the bow promises rare wonders. Seaweed shimmers in countless brilliant colors below you, and rays of sunlight defy the overcast sky to illuminate the lush grass and dark basalt rock of the island. Avoiding the rocks jutting up from the ocean, your ship makes its way towards a calm harbor on the island's north side. It's a little story time. So a large open-air temple comes into view, perched on the edge of a cliff high above you. The ship drops anchor at the mouth of the harbour, and 2 sailors row you ashore. You have plenty of time to admire the towering statue at the centre of the temple, depicting a wizened man surrounded by 7 songbirds. A long path winds up the side of the cliff to the temple, dotted along the way with doorways cut into the rock. The sailors set you ashore on a rickety dock, where a large rowboat is neatly tied. They point to the base of the path and wish you good luck before they row back to the ship. Your visit to Dragon's Rest begins. Okay, so first of all, Nimble is going to appreciate, the sound of the seagulls flying overhead, the smell of the salt and the wind as it whips through. And he's more of a town person, so he hasn't really spent a lot of time on beaches and islands. It's nice to be out of the bustle of the city, as much as he is quite a homebody. Hasn't really been out adventuring, but now obviously he wants this reset. He wants to go and find this temple. He can really tell that ahead of him is this opportunity for him to find himself and make good on who he can become. So that was just a bit of me thinking about what my character's going to do. I'm going to have a quick read through, see if there's anything before continuing with the adventure. Just says introduce yourself, so that's fine. Just look for a marching order. Well, I think the marching order I'm going to follow throughout the adventure, and you can hold me to this one. This is my conscious decision, is that Nimble will be the one marching because he's the only person. All right, read the following text to start the encounter. Ooh, drowned sailors. As you're about to leave the beach and start your climb, you hear a ruckus of splashing and wet, gurgling moan behind you. 3 figures are shambling up from the water's edge around 30 feet away. They're dressed as sailors, but their skin is grey and they look drowned. Seawater drools from their slack mouths as they lurch towards you. Okay, so Nimble he does believe in the good in people, but he is pretty sure that this is not good. So he is drawing mace, drawing shield. He is ready to go clobbering on whatever this is, which is also cool because it means we get to try combat in Nimble, which I think is kind of interesting, the way it works. So yeah, my commitment is that he's going to run down these 3 creatures and put them back to the earth. So reading forward, yep, there you go. The 3 shambling sailors are zombies, animated corpses of sailors who have died in shipwrecks. Characters can fight, continue the path, or whatnot. So, yep, it says give them a fight, and they've got stats towards the back. So what we'll do is let's go to a tactical map. Let's get a token for him. Let's put it there. Let's add not a player. Let's add an NPC. Create character. Let's call this a create in-game. Yeah. Okay, well, let me add them. Okay, so let's just say that there's 3. Can I get more tokens for... There we go. So there you go. I should have, because I'm not using the D&D alchemy set, I've just set one up called Nimble so that I could make those character sheets. Forgot about the fact that you need to make a template so that you can make NPCs. So I've just got these 3 shambling Nimblics who are going to represent zombies. Now, the way that you can convert these is it's mostly the same. You take this stat block, you look at the armor class. So the armor class on a zombie is 8. To convert it into Nimble, you say, is it less than 14? Yes. In that case, effectively doesn't have armor. The hit points are the same. So these have 22 hit points. Woof. Okay. And maybe we need a note for this. Let's see. Zombie 1. Can I edit that? Edit is 22, I said. Zombie 2 is 22, and Zombie 3 is 20. So this is actually probably going to be a really big and deadly fight because he's only got 17 HP. With Nimble, they have different levels of foe. So you've got your regular foe, but then you also have minions. So minions are not as dangerous. In fact, some levels of minions are just meant to be cannon fodder, where if you hit them at all, they die. But I think these guys, maybe they're a little tougher than that. So there's the next level up of minion. The main thing to think of is that you take the bad guy, and then they can't do critical hits, which will come out in a moment. All right, so what we're going to do then is we're going to roll initiative. Only players roll initiative. So what he does is he'll roll 1d20 plus his initiative, which I believe was 1. Back to the journal, sorry. 17. Right, so the way initiative works in Nimble is if you roll a less than 10, you get 1 action on your first turn. If you roll 10 to 19, you get 2 actions. If you roll 20 or more, you get 3 actions. Every turn after this, you'll get 3 actions, and you'll see that's for things like moving, attacking multiple times, casting spells, and it refreshes every turn. So this turn, he rolled 17, less than the 20, more than the 10. He's got 2 actions that he can do in this first round of combat before all the creatures move. So what I'm going to say is that he was close enough that he could run down the first one. You know what? Because of that, let's just say they're all in melee. He's run down. He's up to the first one. I'll put the other 2 next to it when they move up on their turn. So you get to do... the way combat works is you will attack by rolling your damage dice. And the damage dice on a mace, which is his weapon, is 1d6 plus strength bludgeoning damage. So he's going to roll a 1d6 to attack this first creature. If he rolls a 1, he misses. Any other number is what damage he does. If you roll 6, though, that counts as a crit. So it's really, if you roll a 1, miss. If you roll the largest number on that dice, crit. It means that daggers 25% of the time will miss, but 25% of the time will crit. It's high risk, high reward. But then you've got something that might be a 1d12, which doesn't miss as often, but also doesn't crit as often. It's more consistent damage. Anyway, so 1d6, let's go. Rolls a 1. Of course he rolls a 1. So he swings and, I think he's still going to... in the sand, it's bad footing, so he comes forward and he takes his first swing, but then just hits this spot where his foot slides out at the wrong time. Kind of like jams his shield into the ground to brace himself. But that first hit goes astray. I was going to say he attacks again, because you're allowed to attack multiple times in a turn. But his first thing was that he moved in. So that he moved for one action, he attacked for the second action. That's the end of his turn. So at the end of your turn, you get 3 actions, which will be for your next turn, but you can also use them for reactions in the meantime, so we'll see that in a moment. So what I'm going to say is, because these are minions, I'm just going to get them to all attack at the same time. So zombies in this game do... damage is 1d6 plus 1. So let's roll 3d6. And again, remembering if they roll a 1, it misses. And a 6 won't crit, but let's see how it goes. Okay, so we'll get rid of that 1. 3, 6 is 9. Plus the 2 people that hit is 11 damage. He's going to use one of the 3 actions that he has to defend. So you can defend once per turn, like 1 reaction of defending. And what you do is you remove your armor rating from the amount of hits you're going to take. It's one of the joys of having minions attack as a group, is that you only need to defend once to mitigate a lot of that damage. But he still is going to take 3 damage. And that used up one of his turns. So now he's got 2 more attacks. Oh, so he's got, back to his turn, he's got 2 actions left. The first action he's going to do is he's going to swing at one of those creatures again. And I suspect he's going to die before we get too far in. Really? A 1 again. That's very awkward. That's really unfortunate. I was really kind of hoping that he would be able to hit something at all. But he's also going to do another move. For his second move, he could attack, which would be a disadvantage. But I think he's going to use his... He's going to roll his might. The actual action is called Assess. So you roll a DC 12 check. So I'm going to roll a D20, add my might, and then try and hit a 12. If I can do that, I get to anticipate danger, reduce all primary die rolled against me by 1 for this incoming round. And what I'm seeing here is that he is, after that attack missed again, he's kind of stepped back, he's planted his feet, and he's just kind of swinging around with a shield, trying to push them back, trying to keep them at bay, maybe like prodding with his mace at the same time. So let's try and roll that might. Exactly. Meets beats. Yep, so he has managed to, he misses, he goes, hold on, I need to reassess the situation. It takes a more defensive stance. And now it's the creature's turn. So again, they're going to all attack. 1, 2, 3 dice. So one of them misses. One of them rolls a 1. One rolls a 2, so that's 3 in total. Because, it's -1 to each of the dice rolls. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, because they get +1 to the damage. And he is going to, again, take an action to defend, because he's got his 3 actions back, so he's going to take 1 to defend. And now it's his turn again. Oh, and 8 is more than 5, so his armor absorbs it completely. When he took that defensive stance, he really is swinging, just like jamming them back with his mace. Right, he's going to do another round of combat here, so he's going to swing again and hope. I really want to get a 6, because that way we can crit it. 5. You know what? 5 is still better than nothing. 5 plus 2 is 7 damage to the first of those. Let's say 5, 7, so 15. And with his second action, again, he's going to... this time he's going to use a different skill, actually. He's going to use his perception. Just to try and, see where the attack is coming from and try and position himself in such a way as to not get hit with that. Oh, okay, go back. 23. Oh, there we go. Absolutely a success. 20 is always a success if you roll it. 1 is always a fail. So again, he is he hasn't planted himself as much, but he's just keeping an eye out on where these attacks are coming from. So he's going to get to reduce all those attacks by 1 again, all dice rolls by 1. 2 misses, a 2 plus 1 is 3, and you know what? He's actually just going to wear that damage this time, so that he gets the extra action on his turn. Right, so now with his extra action... Oh, no, so I forgot to do this. Whenever an enemy attacks you, if you have no judgment dice, roll your judgment dice, which is 2d6. On your next melee attack next melee attack this encounter. Oh gosh, okay. Well, let's do that. Let's roll 2d6. I didn't realize that the smite happened all the time. So he did get hit by that. So I'm going to roll... Wowza, he gets to add 11 radiant damage to this next attack. I really, really hope he hits now. So he's going to strike that first one again with his first action, and because he wore that attack last time, he's got all 3 actions. So the first one, roll to hit. Please hit. Typical, but he rolls a 1. But you know what? On his second action, he's going to attack again. So this time, if you attack a second time, you just roll at disadvantage. So we'll take the lower of these 2. 2 will still do damage, plus 2 for his strength. So it's 4 damage to this first zombie. And then he is going to use Naturecraft. He's going to try and position himself in such a way that the sand is... gives him a benefit to defensive. The creature's going to be slipping over in the sand. He's got the high ground, and he can... So let's try Naturecraft. That thing's been really useful, actually, having that... Oh, no! So maybe he's been flipping around a little bit in the sand, so he hasn't quite got this. When these creatures attack on their turn, all of the dice will be kept as per. Oh gosh, okay. So 10 damage, they all hit, so that's plus 3. It's 13 damage. He does need to use his armor for this, so he's going to defend. 8, so he takes 5 more damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, he's only got 6 health left. This is awkward. But then his bonus damage will be an extra 7 if he hits something. And he's going to strike that first creature. Roll 1d6. 4. 4 will hit. Plus 2 is 6. And then plus 7 is 13, of which part of it's radiant damage. And you know what? That is enough to blow the zombie up. So this first one, we'll just take one away, is Gonski's. Can I just delete that? Well, remove. That was the first attack. Second attack, he will attack the next one again. It's over here at disadvantage, but a 4 will still hit, so that's 6 damage. Onto zombie 2. Zombie 1 is dead, so let's get rid of that. Zombie 2 took 6 damage, so it's down to 16. And then he's going to figure out another way to be on the defensive. He is going to use his he's going to use his might again. That worked the first time. He's going to plant shield and try and block this. I keep forgetting to switch back to the dice side. 15 will do it. So he again, first of all, he just explodes one of these zombies. Swings. No, he doesn't swing back because that was he didn't have the action. One zombie explodes, gore everywhere, and then he just again plants that shield in front of him, starts pushing back like a riot shield on these 2 zombies, which are clawing at him, trying to get at him. And he's going to impose -1 on both of their dice. So they're going to attack for a 2 and a 5 after that's been done. Well, actually, when you think about it, it's 9 because they both get +1. damage. He's going to take one action, one of his 3, to block with his armor and only take 1 damage. He's going to die in this opening sequence. I didn't really adjust it. I think you meant to play with about 3 or 4 generally characters. I maybe should have ramped him up. But here we are. 2d6 for his dice. Man, that's actually really powerful that happens every attack. I thought it was every, like, after. Did I read that correctly? On your next melee attack this encounter. That's so good. That's much better than a paladin. It's a smite every turn if you get hit. And there's actually a way that if one of your friends is being hit within 10 inches or 2 squares, you can swap places with them. You push them out of the way and you take the hit, which would then cause you to get this divine smite. That's cool. Anyway, so he's going to attack the weakened zombie. 4 plus 7 is 11, plus 2 is 13 damage. You know what? It had 16, but I'm just going to say it explodes. So let's try and get through these zombies. So now he's mano. I think speak Spanish. And for the first, his final action, again, he's going to brace. He's going to backpedal using that nature craft. It didn't work last time, but he's going to try it again this time. Roll. Did I roll it? Nature craft. 10. Okay, he really is just terrible at nature craft. Oh, no. Didn't mean to do that. Ignore that one. What I meant to do is just say roll a d6 as the zombie tries to attack him. It rolls a 5, plus 1 is 6. He's only got 5 health left, so he's going to take 1 action to defend. And he's going to get his 2d6 of Radiant Rage. What's it called again? Divine Retribution? No. Radiant Judgment. So he's going to add 10 to his next damage dice. As long as he hits, which roll a d6 to find out. 5 plus 2 for his strength is 7, plus 10 is 17. Zombie only had 22, but truth be told, this fight's been going on long enough, so that zombie is dead. Remove. So yeah, he took a couple of hits there and was trying to be defensive, but then this he was feeling the energy coursing through him, and it built up until it started just exploding out in the later parts of the fight. You know, his eyes were glowing. The end of his, admittedly, it's a crappy old mace. It's just one that he picked up and carried around with him. He really should upgrade it at some point. Not there yet. Anyway, but that started to crackle with a righteous fury as well, and was causing these zombies to just explode all over the show. Oh, that's such a cool skill, actually, in this game. And so now he's standing there. There is large splashes of zombies. They just got red misted thanks to this radiant damage. There's nothing, in fact, left for him to loot even. So he's just going to take a couple of deep breaths there. Look around, just make sure there's nothing else. Plant his mace in the ground and just take a moment to breathe. And I'm going to read ahead to see what happens. And no, avoiding the zombies, no. So flicking through, it doesn't look like anything else. There's something that might have happened if he had done more poorly. But the things you learn later. So, yeah, seeing the beach is clear. Pops his shoulder, slings his shield again. Puts his mace away. Time to get to this cloister and talk to these people about their worship of Bahamut. So heads up the stairs. And we've got that blue text box again. So your arrival quickly draws the attention of the entire population of the place, which consists mostly of kobolds. Oh, cool, I love kobolds. These small reptilian folk eye you curiously, while a couple of humans watch from a distance. All the cloister's residents are dressed in simple clothes, and no one carries a visible weapon. One of the kobolds piped up with, "What's your name?" At that, all the kobolds begin barraging you with questions. Where are you from? What's that? Why are you here? and more that are lost in the din. So he hasn't really dealt with kobolds before, but at the same time, these people, they're not showing any weapons. I don't think he's surprised that people who follow a dragon god are kobolds. I mean, actually, that makes sense to him. They're kind of, they're dragonish. Surely that's the thing. So he's just chatting away, being like, "Oh yes, hello. I'm Nimble, and I have come here to see your beautiful temple, and I hope to learn. I hope that you're able to impart some of your teachings to me." And see if there's quickly skip through to see if there's anything. The kobolds keep asking questions, so he's just going to keep chatting away. Then you can skip forward, more text. Right, so the chattering kobolds fall silent as a new figure comes into view, descending gracefully from the upper part of the cloister. She's an elderly human woman with withered brown skin, white hair and tight braids, and kindly hazel eyes, dressed in a simple white robe. She smiles as she draws near and extends her arms in greeting. "Welcome to Dragon's Rest," she says. "May Bahamut's guidance lead you to whatever you seek." And it looks like, thank you. My name is Niblick, but sorry, yes. Are you the apprentice, or are you in charge here? And I honestly don't know. So this is Elder Runara, the leader of the Dragon's Rest. If the characters defeated the zombies at the beach, she thanks them for the service. So yeah, she's like, I did see. I was watching, and I saw your boat come ashore, and I saw the creatures come out of the ocean to waylay you, and I'm glad to see that you handled yourself admirably. Did you give us anything? There's nothing with payment any kind. First thing you look at. She says that you're welcome to stay at the Dragon's Rest as long as they wish, sleeping in either the monastic cells in A1 or the temple in A5, and eating with the rest of the community in the dining area. So what I've actually done is I've also got a little map here that I found online. Okay. Of the Dragon's Rest. I'm assuming that's the temple, and that's the dining hall. But I'm sure there's a map somewhere, A5. Yep, so I was correct. That is the temple. That's up really, really high, like 170 feet above the next part down. Monastic cells. Okay, so these are the cells where he's allowed to stay. And then also A3. Oh, okay, so this is the dining hall where he's allowed to eat. And what is that? A4. I don't know. No one's told him. So the point is, she's pointing. We're just down here by this little star. Just have come up the stairs, and we're standing more or less in front of the monastic cells at the moment. And she's like, "Oh, you're welcome to stay in one of these if you find it unoccupied, but also in the temple." And she gestures further up the hill, and on behold, you can see the temple soaring about 150 feet above. And also, if you seek a meal, just where the stairs curve back around towards the temple, she says, gesturing further up the path, is our dining hall, and you're welcome to eat there as well. Okay, so let's just read a bit more in this book. So, Dragon's Rest serves as a home base for characters. Great. Little kobolds. Okay, so it seems that we can speak to a bunch of the different kobolds there, and we get a couple of names like Aga, who is a very no-nonsensey kind of kobold, and Bleep, who thinks he's supernaturally lucky. Let's see. And then there's a couple of humans there as well. We run across one of the humans that they mentioned is a a chap called Tarek, whose pale skin is darkened with freckles and auburn hair and a beard, which is mostly grey, and grey-blue eyes. He's got some faded tattoos in the abstract design peeking up the side of his neck from beneath the stained robes. So he was probably an emo a number of years ago and got a neck tattoo, which is wearing out now that he's given up that lifestyle. We also meet the woman, because there's a few humans. So there's a woman called Vanoff. She's getting older. Her black hair is close to her skull, and light brown skin bears many scars, one which runs over her left eye and is milky and blind. Oh, she's got an elegant prosthetic made from wood, and metal replaces her right leg below the knee. So I think Nimble is going to notice that and think, oh, okay, this person was probably a soldier. And we've got that recidivist, oh, not recidivist, recalcitrant. Anyway, the emo is giving up on that life. And then all these little excitable kobolds, Throb, Kilnip, Laylee, Mumpo, Myla, Ritz, and Zark. Now, if I was just playing this properly for myself, I would take more time to read a bit about these people, and I'll take some notes for myself, just so I know that, oh, yeah, maybe make some roles and play some interactions where Niblick is chatting with Laylee, who is a curious mind and talent for tools and building. She asks about, is there any new things that have been built back on the mainland? Like, what's engineering doing? Is there new things back in the dock? Because she, we have boats come ashore here. Is there ways that can work? So what he might do is Niblick might take a walk, because as I flick through this book, I see that some of these new text boxes are descriptions about the other areas. So he's going to carry on up. So he sees a long path leading up the rocky shore up the side of the cliff with occasional stairs to ease the ascent. Here and there along the lower part of the path, well-tended garden plots hold flowers, herbs, and vegetables. About 30 feet above the bay, the path widens into a long plaza. Halfway along the plaza, a stone statue of a dragon gazes serenely down the path. 6 open doorways are cut into the side. Oh, so that must be the statue, and those are those buildings. What's more about the statue? So I'm just going to squiz through, and I see that there is a thing where it says, hey, you can roll DC 10 intelligence or arcana. And so, yeah, I'm going to roll that to investigate this statue, and then I'll get to see if I find something out from that. So here's arcana. See if I can get a 10. Now, from memory, arcana is an intelligence roll, which means I've got that feature. So dumb, I'm smart sometimes. So he's going to re-roll that. He goes up and he looks at this the statue. He's just staring, and like the cogs are turning in his brain. I was just like, that's cool. But he doesn't know about that. It's interesting you can ask Venera about the statue, but he wouldn't have even thought about that. He probably would have kept looking elsewhere. It's like, cool. Just like, I guess that's like some kind of arty thing of a. He knows it's a dragon, but he's like, I guess that's just because it's a dragon temple. Maybe that's meant to be Bahamut. Don't know. But yeah, some of the kobolds are just following along from a respectful distance, and he's just taking a bit of a stroll. He's going to go up to here. There's a little, just on the bend of these stairs going up, a small freestanding building halfway up the path. There's a peaked roof and a weathered wooden door. A sturdy wooden pallet wrapped with a rope hangs beneath the building on an iron chain, lying flat against the cliff face. He's like, oh, okay, so I guess that's some way of getting things up and down the cliff, but you know what? That's not really something interesting. His main goal at the moment is to get to that temple. He just wants to take some of that in. So he's going to go past A3, which is a room with a long table. Looking in, he can see a doorway in the rock opens into a dining room with a long table. 2 benches run the length of the table, and a single chair sits at the table's head. A short hallway connects to a small, tidy kitchen. Again, it's just out of interest. He kind of sticks his head in and has a look. But he wants to get to this temple. So he's going to carry on past. Does appear in this next room. And of all the doorways cut into the cliff face, only one has an actual door. The entry's door is made of sturdy oak with iron bands, and it swings open easily to reveal a spacious library. Bookshelves line every wall and 3 freestanding shelves in the west half of the room. In the east half is a table with 2 benches, writing implements, books, stands, and glass-shielded lamps. This is not really something that has ever really interested Nimble. I mean, there's book smart and then there's life smart, and he feels that he's more life smart, and that, no, it's about the people around you. If you bury your head in a book the whole time, you're never going to see what's out there at the moment. So he's going to keep carrying on. He's got this sense of peace already coming into him, that he's going to be in this temple soon. So he's going to carry on. Then he gets to the highest point of the cloister, and it's crowned by an open-air temple that overhangs the cliff, supported by arched stone struts anchored to the cliff face. The north wall of the temple is carved directly into the rock, while the rest is open to the sea air. Heavy pillars mark the 3 open sides, supporting the wooden roof. In the center of the temple stands a stone statue of a kind-looking old man with canaries perched on his hands, shoulders, and head. A feeling of serenity suffuses the place. Now, Kidlick has no idea. He thought this was a temple to Bahamut. It certain was a dragon. So he's actually going to turn around to one of the kobolds around, and we have got... who are we talking to? Oh, there's a kobold called Rix who's pious and tends the temple. And he's like, sorry, I'm a little confused. I thought this was a temple to Bahamut. And reading through here, I can say, so Rix explains to him that actually the statue depicts Bahamut, who's a platinum dragon, but in his mortal guise, surrounded by 7 canaries that represent gold dragons who accompany him on his travels. Depressions on his... So looking at this, he go, oh, thank you so much for that. Am I allowed to approach it? I guess, of course, just, do be careful. Not for your own safety, but, be considerate of anyone else that might want to be here. Don't be too noisy or anything like that. So he goes up and he's going to have a closer look at the statue. So depressions in the statue's pedestal at the 4 cardinal points hold offerings. I had a pop up on my screen. There we go. Oh, gosh, go away. My printer was trying to update, but I won't want to deal with that now. So these cardinal points have offerings of incense. And this is what Rix was tending. The feeling of serenity that pervades the temple is a result of protective magic. Not that he knows that, so we know that. He just knows it feels peaceful. A non-evil creature who makes a saving throw within the temple can add D4. Cool, okay. So he's just going to sit here for a moment. And then... he's just going to take it in, and then he's going to return down to talk to Runara, Elder Runara, and find out more about this place. Now that he's here, he feels that maybe he should be doing something. He's not entirely sure what, but he feels that if he's going to spend time here, it shouldn't just be him getting things, he should also be reciprocating. But what I might do is, in this session here, again, this is just a little taster of like how you might handle running a pre-made adventure. And you can see, hopefully, that sometimes you get to read things, sometimes you skim the text and pick out a couple of elements, but then don't read them properly. It's about making decisions before you have all the information. So, you get the description of the scene, and then you say, well, look, I'm going to be doing X, Y, Z. And it's also about getting absolutely thumped by zombies, because apparently you just don't have... apparently they're just chunky when you're a level 1. Again, this is the cover art from Nimble. I just love it. This book, I've got the PDFs. This, by the way, none of this is sponsored. I bought the PDFs. Kind of feel like I need to go back and buy the books, even though they're quite short. I think it's about, is it like 200, 250 maybe pages across the 3 books in total. So they're quite small, but the art's gorgeous. And I'm running this with my kids. It's simpler than D&D. And I think there's some interesting things that you can do with the combat. I'm looking forward to taking this to my normal group of people and seeing what they can do when they've got their 3 actions and are allowed to jump in the way and, take the hit for someone else. And now that I know how powerful paladins are, good grief. So anyway, hopefully that gave you a little taster of Nimble. Super quick to make a character. I like the system, the reduced skills, the different options in combat. There's a whole bunch of other great rules in there. We didn't even look at things like resting, or any of the other rules other than that little combat. And then also, hopefully I haven't spoiled the entire Dragons of Stormwreck Island, or Stormwreck Isle for people. Go out and try this. This is in the box set for D&D, so it's pretty easy to get hold of. And it's meant to be an introductory adventure. And you know what? Maybe I'll end up playing more of this offline at some point, or maybe I'll even stream it. But in the meantime, don't forget to take a break. Thank you for joining me. Take care of yourself. See you later.